Happy Wednesday to you. It's the Joel Natale Show. We're live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here at 5th and State. And once a month, we get a chance to talk insurance with the experts. Today, we have Emily and Sadie from Hilling-Pfeffer Insurance. Ladies, great to see you again. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much for having us once again. Not tired of us yet?
No, not at all. And I don't know, am I the only one that geeks out over learning about insurance?
A little bit. But we appreciate you.
Yeah, besides us.
Besides you, right?
Yes.
Well, I've always felt it was just really important to make sure you limit your exposure. I mean, it's just logic, isn't it?
But it's not as much common sense as you would think. Once you say it that way, 100% people realize that. But most of the time, folks don't realize the cost of health insurance, of going to the doctors, until they're already in the situation.
Yeah.
And then at that point, sometimes it's already a little too late.
And, I'm kind of an old timer, guys. And so I remember the old days where you had the high option and every penny was paid for. You had no out of pocket. This is
the good old days.
The good old days. This era that we're in now is a little hard to swallow because you have one big claim, you have one procedure, and you're paying for a while. You're paying that copay or what, or right?
The copay, the time off of work,
just
the travel, if you had to go to Pittsburgh or maybe Cleveland, depending upon what's going on. A lot of people have been going to Cleveland Clinic, it seems like, in our area, or like to at least have that as an option.
Sure.
That's how far away? Hour, 45 minutes, almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
So, travel, lodging.
I want to get to it here because we want to talk about supplemental insurance, which is kind of like another layer that you might want to stack on your basics. So what exactly is supplemental insurance?
So your supplemental insurances help fill the gaps with your health insurance.
Okay.
So a supplemental is not health insurance. It helps fill the gaps with those. So you have your co-pays, deductibles, the things that you were just talking about, all the things that are out of pocket that cost you money. That's where these other companies have come up with the policies that can help pay you back, give you a benefit for different things that you have done.
Okay.
Sometimes the benefit could be more, sometimes it could be less, depending upon the company and what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, you have people, let's say, that live in Titusville, and let's say they're having a ortho procedure in Meadville or even in Erie. More than likely, that includes a hotel room. That might include, all kind of extra stuff. Some of these will pay for that, right?
Correct.
Okay.
They'll pay benefits for
They'll
it.
pay a benefit, a
Yeah.
certain amount, and those are what is discussed within those policies because they can vary. Each policy carries different things. It depends. So. Personal experience, cancer policies, going down to Pittsburgh, having somebody that has to have surgery at 5 o'clock in the morning. You don't want to be driving from Erie to get down there for 5 o'clock, so you stay over the night before. There's great places down there, family house. You can stay there. It doesn't matter as long as you have a receipt showing that you stayed. Then we can then in turn get that submitted for you, and then you get a benefit for staying over. If it's then it has to go with that certain policy. So that being a cancer policy, having surgery for cancer, something like that, to get a little deep in the weeds on it. But that kind of tells you the different things you can do.
And we kind of already alluded to this, but people do have health insurance, but generally it's hard. It would be hard to find someone now that doesn't have some kind of big deductible, right? And so some of these coverages, bridge that gap, don't they?
Yes. It's fewer and far between that companies can even afford to bring down that deductible anymore. There are some places we jokingly say, "Can we work for you?" when we find those places. Right. But benefit packages can be huge for employers to help their employees bring down those deductibles and counterbalance the overall cost for them.
Talk about who's a candidate for these supplementals.
So if somebody has, it can be an individual. So if you would like to have a policy, you can, you as an individual can do it, but you can also, business owners. It's a great thing to be able to offer your employees. You can attract and retain employees by offering these little things, and they don't cost the employer anything unless they would like to do that. To buy an accident policy for each one of your employees, it's literally like giving them a 17-cent an hour raise.
Interesting.
So when you break it down to that, down to those numbers like that, I mean, because nowadays, if you gave somebody a 17-cent an hour raise, they're going to look at you like, what did you give me? Because now it's more dollar-wise people want. But when you're getting an accident policy that you could then in turn have your children on, or even just themselves, and when they go to the chiropractor because they slipped and fell on the ice this winter or something along those lines, and then it pays them anywhere from $150 to $200 depending upon the policy, and that's what they get for going to the chiropractor, because they're in turn maybe missing an hour of work. Maybe they do it after work. Maybe they have to pay $50 because their insurance doesn't cover it. Those are the types of things, but that's huge as a gift from the employer or part of their benefit package that employees really like.
So some of these supplementals could be an employer benefit, or they could be something that you go and buy.
They're probably the most easiest to get a hold of through an employer, but you can buy them individually. Yes. Through an employer, I would say has slightly better policies. Individual policies are different. They just vary. But supplemental can be for anybody.
Let's be specific. What are we talking about? What kinds of insurances here?
So the big one that everybody probably knows with Coach Prime on there now, Aflac. Could be Colonial also, or even Boston Mutual.
But what are we talking about? We're talking about accident insurance and...
Accident, hospital, critical illness, cancer, short-term disability, even life can all be available in there. Accident can cover you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, on and off the job.
Yeah,
Cancer. Exactly.
That's where the duck comes in, right?
Cancer is very similar, and it's got a diagnosis and then benefits for your treatment. Some companies cover your kids for free on that one because we know what a burden it is. A lot of supplemental was set up to counterbalance your copays. If your child has cancer, are you not pretty much... You're not going to quit working, but you're going to be with your child as much as you can be, taking them to appointments. With cancer, that's how many times a week. So that's the parent, at least one, missing work, the travel, the child just being sick itself, and the emotional and physical toll. I can't imagine what that does to a family. So to have some relief and take money off that table and know your bills are going to get paid, or you at least have some benefits, some money coming in, is a way to give yourself peace of mind and your family.
It also, we do, you go into the country fair and you might see a donation because somebody's child has cancer, and we all look at it and, you throw your spare change in it and things like that. That takes that off the table. By having these policies in place, which are a few dollars a week, honestly, it's less than a cup of coffee, to be honest with you, for a lot of these policies. And that's amazing to be able to, their prices have not gone up, unlike a lot of things that we're seeing. The supplemental lines have all stayed pretty much the same, and they're very reasonable. So, short-term disability, if somebody
your paycheck protector
gets hurt and can't go to work because they had fun on the weekend, and God forbid an accident happened, a family getting into an automobile accident, and now all of a sudden we have people that can't work because they're in the hospital, or maybe they're, they can't physically walk due to broken leg, something like that. That's what helps them. This is what keeps the lights on at home and make sure that everything's going to be okay, instead of going, oh geez, we better do the church better do a spaghetti dinner. And not that those things aren't important, because they're amazing, but it just helps take them off the table. And then the family can keep going on. Like Emily was saying, the cancer, it gives a little bit of breathing room, so you can go, okay, we got this.
I'm glad you mentioned short-term disability, because, again, it could be where you have a situation where you just get a diagnosis and your doctor says, yeah, I'm sorry, that knee is shot, we've got to do something, or your hip, or, you're going to...
Absolutely.
Or you have an accident.
Or you had fun over the 4th of July weekend and crashed your four-wheeler.
And you're going to be out for 6 weeks.
Correct.
Minimum.
Most people don't have that kind of savings to cover that loss of income.
Correct.
What are some of the big? And again, we're talking to Emily and Sadie from Hilling-Pfeffer Insurance here about supplemental insurance. What's the biggest misconception, do you think, Em?
I would go that they think it's health insurance. They don't quite understand the difference.
And they think that health insurance covers everything. We think it's a broad coverage, isn't it? Yeah.
A lot of people just don't understand their health insurance in general. So when you offer them something like this, or if you say a specific name for a specific company, whether it be, Aflac or Colonial, they'll relate it to something else. So sometimes they'll think it's auto insurance, and we're like, no, that's different. So it's really getting people to understand exactly what it can do for them. And literally, I would say that we both would agree that sometimes light bulbs go off when people understand, oh, that can help with that. Or my son has broken his arm 3 times playing, flag football or little gritters or whatever it happens to be that's going on in their town, and it's just one of those that some children, and that's one of the questions, do you have an accident prone child? And it's not to pick on them, but sometimes in the family, you have the one child that ends up getting hurt more than the other one.
It's
or
true.
The same thing with adults.
I think my brother has broken more bones than I have, but I've probably used our accident policy more.
Well, okay, so if you don't have this, what ends up happening to your clients? Or how are they paying, when they have to make that?
So a lot of the companies have direct, so they have an online portal. So if you're somebody that wants to do it yourself, perfectly fine. Or we can help do it for you.
But if they don't have coverage, they end up using their credit card, don't they?
Yes,
absolutely.
Or getting a payment plan with the hospital.
Your financial, that's one of the big things with this, is it's to help protect you financially. It's for as a cup of coffee and having it be that reasonable. Right. The payouts can be, I've seen from personal experience, a gentleman had a motorcycle accident. Young man was in the hospital for in rehab facility, close to 300, over 300 days. So a long time, very serious.
Wow.
Had an accident policy.
Luckily.
Didn't wear his helmet that day, so please wear your helmet, safety first. But
and the policy paid out?
Close to $80,000.
Wow.
A very large amount of money.
Those are not the typical.
No, but when you have something like that go on, this was a young man, so it was able to take care of his he had student loans. It was able to pay off his student loans. It was able to pay off his vehicle that he had. And then there was money for when he was out of the hospital to be able to go out of rehab, but back and forth in the hospital. A lot has gone on. But he's doing well. So that's, God's blessing.
Yes.
So it's amazing to have and to know the person and then to go through that with them. But to have a policy that pays that amount of money. So then you turn around and take that, okay, it's not a young man that's in his early 20s. It's let's take it and put it into a man who's married and has children. That can save their home. That can keep the lights on so they can figure other things out. Well, mom's driving in to go see him in between getting the kids from school and everybody else is helping,
probably.
Doing the things that we need to do. So these policies really can be a family saver, a financial saver for what you've got going on at home.
For the things that we don't see coming.
Do some of these bundle? Is there bundling that happens with these, or not really?
They can tell you that it's kind of a bundle. They're all individual, so it's not like you get a discount by buying
if you buy
multiple
more than
plans.
one policy.
Okay.
They're all individually priced out. We do tell people that to have a maximum of coverage or something like that. The accident policy, having a critical illness policy, and then a short-term disability policy. Those cover you for the big things. So that's pretty good to start with. Mm-hmm. And then, we see how it goes that year. Usually we do a once a year open enrollment for employers, go in and visit them at that time, help people with their claims. And then, claims can be a big deal. We walk them through that. Mm-hmm. Tell you to go on to your I'm sorry, I almost said my UPMC. Your My Chart now.
My Chart, yeah.
You go into My Chart and get off those after visit summaries, and you're able. That has everything you need to be able to file a claim, and it's just little educational things like that we can help people out with and make sure that they're getting their stuff.
So this is we have a lot of employers that listen to this show. Mm-hmm. So this is something that if you are not offering at least even access to one of these carriers, you probably need to consider that.
Absolutely.
To give, and there is advantages to doing it as a payroll deduction because it's pre-tax. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Some you can do as pre-tax, some
Yeah.
you don't want to, but
Some you don't want to,
Well,
right?
That's an individual conversation with
Yes.
each employer, because some do it some way, some do it a different way, but it's all great things. And then it's the same thing with the employees can pay for it, or if the employer wants to pick up a long-term disability policy for somebody who's going to be out for an extended period, or maybe a life insurance policy for while the people are employed there, they can do that. And it's all just giving them a quote.
the world is our oyster with supplemental benefits.
It starts elevating your benefits package.
Absolutely.
From just maybe offering some health care, right?
Yes.
It seems like that's a difference maker when it comes to employment now, is the benefit packages. Because attracting and retaining, those are the buzzwords that all the companies love. Attracting and retaining quality employees. It seems to be difficult nowadays for whatever reason.
Wow. It's something to think about, because again, the big healthcare stuff, the major, what they used to call major medical, right?
Absolutely.
It just doesn't cover as much as it used to. And things are just more expensive,
Correct. I would say that most of the people that we talk with, that a lot of them at least have $1,000 deductible, which
That would be very low.
and that's on the low side.
Yeah.
I know that
3 or 5 is
Yeah.
probably
I know
what
that
I've
a few
seen.
year ago mine was 7, and I had to meet that in January, which was great.
Yeah.
But that's taking a big chunk, a big payment. And then you have that on your back for that time period. But if you have some coverage that can help fill that, then yes, it's able to go into that, so your maximum out of pocket is then met, and then, you're good.
But even if you had phenomenal coverage, Aflac Colonial Supplemental may still be an option for you, because you never know, your circumstances may change. But if you have excellent coverage, these benefits are still paid to you. You could take the family to Disney if you wanted to.
Right.
Put it in the savings fund.
Yeah.
Whatever you need to with your family.
Yeah.
Or yourself.
And again, for the little bit, to have, to cover your exposure, like we started the conversation, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, just wanting to make sure that the money's there if you have to take 6 weeks off or what have you.
And I guess it's relating it to something that people talk about, like, I said a cup of coffee. A value meal at McDonald's is more expensive than an accident policy.
I feel like that should tell you times have
what I mean?
changed.
You know what I mean? It's very interesting.
Amazing.
Correct.
Amazing.
It's
All right. So how do people find out from Hilling-Pfeffer, how to kind of, learn more information about this?
Get a hold of Sadie and I. We'd be happy to discuss whether it's a good option for you or not. I love to tell people we are not arm twisters. So if it's not working out for you, we're not going to force you or sell you. But give us a call, 814-455-7611. Finally memorized that.
Good for you. And again,
We're up
that's
on
for
State Street.
individuals, but also for employers or HR. If you have a small shop and you tell your payroll person, your HR person to give you a call, you're going to be able to walk them through this
Absolutely.
stuff, right?
We can give them a quote. We can see what that they're currently offering, see if we might be able to help that, knowing a little bit about what the health insurance is, or even if they don't offer health insurance and the people then have to go to Penny to pick up their own, they can do that as well. So you don't have to be offering health insurance to actually be able to offer the supplementals.
That's right. You'll help people with their penny.
We can
too.
help
We're
them
a one-stop
all
shop.
the way around. So,
Think about that for a smaller shop that doesn't really offer a lot of benefits. They could point their employees to you for.
correct.
That's how we've gotten into doing all these different lines, is because we just continue to see a need for it. So, okay. And then another need. And so why not, if you're physically able to
And
do
it
it?
really, you don't need the stress of worrying about health insurance.
That
Leave it to an expert.
correct. And in knowing that you have people that are local that will be able to give you a call back if we don't, if we're not able to speak to you right then and there, returning the phone calls, helping you with your claims, doing the little things that go the extra mile. It is, it's really kind of awesome. The young man who is now doing much better, but seeing that claim paid, having somebody, we've seen multiple people that have had different conditions, that some of these benefits have been life-changing for them because they've been able to keep going and maybe have gotten a little bit extra because of the policy they picked up.
Or been able to take care of their family after the fact.
Yep.
We'll leave it there. Sadie and Emily, Hilling-Pfeffer Insurance. What's that phone number again?
814-455-7611.
Thank you, ladies, so much again. Again, always enjoy our
It's such a
conversations.
pleasure always.
You got it. See you next month. Either you
Oh,
or
it's
one
the
of your
boys this
colleagues.
time.
It's
I
the
think it's
boys.
gonna be-
It's the boys' turn.
That's awesome. Have a good one.